Lisa had always been good with her hands, ever since she was a kid. She loved taking things apart just to see how they worked inside. Her dad used to joke that she could fix anything with a wrench. And some patience. Now, 15 years later, she was one of the best mechanical engineers in Nevada, working on fancy airplane parts for a company that did secret government contracts. The job wasn't glamorous, but it paid well and let her work on some really cool stuff. Most days, she dealt with engines and computer systems that were way ahead of anything regular people got to. See, her coworkers always came to her when something seemed impossible to fix. She had this way of looking at broken machines and just knowing what was wrong. That Tuesday evening started like any other. Lisa finished her shift at 6 and headed home in her old pickup truck. The desert highway was empty, just the way she liked it. No traffic, no stress, just her in the open. Road stretching toward the mountains. She had her radio playing some classic rock, and she was thinking about what to make for dinner. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and purple. Lisa loved this time of day in the desert. Everything looked peaceful and quiet. She'd driven this same route hundreds of times, but tonight something felt different. Maybe it was just her imagination, but the air seemed to have a strange electric feeling to it. Then she saw a dot at first. It looked like a shooting star, but it was moving. Way too slow and way too bright. The object was coming down at an angle, glowing with this weird blue light that she'd never seen before. It wasn't like any airplane or helicopter she knew about. The thing was completely silent as it streaked across the darkening sky. Lisa pulled over and got out of her truck to get a better look. Her heart started beating faster as she watched the mysterious object crash into the desert. About 2 miles away, the impact sent up a huge cloud of dust and sand, and then everything went quiet again. But there was still that strange blue glow coming from where it had landed. Her first thought was to call the police or maybe the military base nearby. This was clearly something serious. But then her curiosity kicked in. What if it was some new kind of experimental aircraft? What if someone was hurt and needed help? The responsible thing would be to call for help and wait. But Lisa had never been good at waiting when something interesting was happening. She grabbed her tool bag from the back of her truck. It was an old leather case that her grandfather had given her, filled with wrenches, screwdrivers, and other equipment she used for emergency repairs. She also took a flashlight and her cell phone, though she doubted she'd get any signal out here. The walk across the desert wasn't easy. The sand was soft and kept getting in her boots. Cactus plants and sharp rocks made her watch every step, but that blue glow kept calling to her, getting brighter as she got closer. There was also this low humming sound, like the noise a big machine makes when it's running. When she finally reached the crash site, Lisa stopped and stared. Nothing could have prepared her for what she saw. It wasn't an airplane. It wasn't a helicopter. It wasn't anything she had ever seen or even imagined. The object was about as long as a school bus, but shaped like a teardrop made of some kind of crystal or metal that seemed to change colors as she looked at it. The surface was smooth and covered with patterns that looked almost like writing, but not in any language she recognized. The whole thing was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Steam was rising from several spots where the craft had been damaged in the crash. Sparks of that same blue light danced around what looked like some kind of engine or power source. The humming sound was definitely coming from inside the ship. Lisa's hands were shaking as she pulled out her phone and started taking pictures. Her engineer brain was trying to make sense of what she was seeing, but it was like trying to understand a language she'd never heard before. The technology was so far advanced that she couldn't even figure out where one part ended and another began. She walked slowly around the craft, looking for any signs of who or what might be inside. There were no windows that she could see, just that smooth, shifting surface. But as she watched, one section of the hull started to become transparent, like someone was turning up the brightness on a computer screen. That's when she saw the figure inside. Her breath caught in her throat. It was definitely alive, but it wasn't human. The being was tall and thin, with skin that seemed to glow with its own light. even though it looked different from any person she'd ever seen. Something about its posture told her it was in trouble. Lisa stood there for a long moment, trying to decide what to do. Every logical part of her mind was screaming that she should run back to her truck and drive away as fast as possible. This was way beyond anything she was equipped to handle. But another part of her, the part that had always wanted to help fix things, wouldn't let her leave. The being inside the ship seemed to notice her and raised one hand in what might have been a greeting or a call for help. In that moment, Lisa made the decision that would change her life forever. She was going to try to help, no matter how impossible it seemed. Working through the night, Lisa used her tools along with materials from the ship to start making repairs. She had to get creative, using copper wire from her truck's radio to replace some of the ship's energy conduits. The idea seemed crazy, but the translator helped her understand that copper actually conducted the alien energy better than their original materials. A mirror from her makeup kit became part of the navigation system. When Lisa figured out how to use it to reflect and focus the ship's scanning beams, even the battery from her cell phone was useful for powering some of the smaller systems. While the main crystals were being repaired, Kira was amazed by Lisa's ability to adapt human technology to work with alien systems. She explained that most species needed years of training to understand their technology, but Lisa seemed to have a natural gift for seeing how different types of machines could work together. The hardest part was fixing the quantum field generator. This device was responsible for creating the space-time bubble that allowed faster-than-light travel, and it required precision beyond anything Lisa had ever attempted. One small mistake could cause an explosion that would destroy half the dessert. But Lisa had always been good with delicate work. Using a combination of her grandfather's old tools and alien instruments, she carefully realigned the generator's crystalline components. Each adjustment had to be perfect, and she could feel Kira's nervous energy as she worked. As the sun started to rise, they had managed to restore life support and fix some of the basic systems. The air in the ship was fresh again, and Kira's color was returning to normal. But the main engine was still not working, and time was running out. Even with the life support fixed, Kira couldn't survive on Earth much longer. The quantum field generator was the key to everything. Without it, the ship could fly around Earth's atmosphere, but it couldn't make the journey home to Kira's world. Lisa had never worked on anything so complex or dangerous, but she could see that Kira was depending on her completely, using every skill she had learned in 15 years of engineering, plus the alien knowledge that Kira had shared with her. Lisa began the delicate process of bringing the quantum drive back online. Each step required perfect timing and coordination between human tools and alien technology. The hardest part was realizing that even with all her skills and Kira's knowledge, they might not be able to fix everything in time. The ship needed repairs that were beyond what either of them could do alone. But Lisa wasn't ready to give up, and something told her that Kira was much more important than she had admitted. Just as Lisa was starting to think they might not make it, she heard a sound that made her heart stop. Ships were approaching from the sky, and there were a lot of them. Just as Lisa was starting to think they might not make it, something incredible happened. The morning sky suddenly filled with ships. Not one or two, but dozens of sleek, silver craft that appeared out of nowhere and surrounded the crash site. Lisa's heart stopped as she realized what this meant. Kira wasn't alone after all. The ships landed in a perfect circle around the damaged craft, and beings similar to Kira began emerging from them. But something was different about the way they carried themselves. They moved with purpose and discipline, like soldiers or guards. And the way they looked at Kira made Lisa realize she had been missing something very important. These newcomers didn't just treat Kira like a fellow traveler who needed help. They bowed to her, actually bowed, with deep respect and what looked like relief. The translator device picked up their rapid conversations, and Lisa began to understand. Words like Your Majesty and Royal Safety and the Empire has been searching. Lisa looked at Kira with new eyes. The being she had been calling by a simple name The one she had been working alongside for hours wasn't just any space traveler. The elegant way Kira moved, the authority in her voice when she spoke to the other beings, the incredible technology of her ship, it all made sense now. Kira was royalty. Not just any royalty, but the queen of an entire civilization that spanned multiple star systems. The rescue team that emerged from the ships was unlike anything Lisa could have imagined. They wore uniforms that seemed to be made of the same color-changing material as the ships, and they carried tools that looked more like works of art than engineering equipment. Everything about them spoke of a civilization far more advanced than anything on Earth. One of the guards approached Lisa, and she could feel the tension in the air. Through the translator, she heard him say that contact with primitive species was forbidden by their laws. The way he said primitive made it clear what he thought of humans. Lisa realized that by helping Kira, she might have created a serious problem for both of them. What happened to humans who learned about alien civilizations? What happened to queens who broke their own laws? Lisa's mind raced with possibilities. None of them good. She had helped save Kira's life, but now she might have put them both in danger. But Kira stood up, looking stronger now that her people had arrived with fresh life support equipment. She spoke to her guards in a voice that left no room for argument. Even through the translator, Lisa could hear the power and authority in Kira's words. She was explaining how Lisa had saved her life, how she had shown incredible skill and kindness without asking for anything in return. The queen told her guards about Lisa's amazing ability to work with their technology, something that should have been impossible for someone from such a young civilization. She described how Lisa had used human materials to repair alien systems in ways that even their own engineers might not have thought of. The guards looked at Lisa with a mixture of surprise and curiosity. Apparently, it was very rare for any species to be able to work with their technology, especially without years of training. What Lisa had accomplished in a single night was something their own engineers would have found challenging. One of the senior guards, who introduced himself as Commander Zeph, examined the repairs that Lisa had made. He was particularly impressed by how she had connected human and alien systems using materials that shouldn't have been compatible. The copper wiring from her truck was now carrying alien energy more efficiently than their original components. Commander Zeph spoke to Kira in their own language, too fast for the translator to keep up. But Lisa could see from their expressions that they were discussing something important about her. She caught a few words like impossible and unprecedented, and the council must know. As the rescue team began setting up equipment to complete the repairs to Kira's ship, the queen pulled Lisa aside. Through the translator, she explained that Lisa had done something that would not be forgotten in their culture. Saving the life of royalty created a bond that lasted forever. Lisa had earned not just Kira's gratitude, but the protection and friendship of an entire galactic empire. But there was more to it than just gratitude. Kira explained that Lisa's natural ability to understand and work with their technology was something that appeared maybe once in a million individuals in any species. It was a gift that could not be ignored or wasted. The repairs moved quickly with the additional help and equipment. Lisa watched in amazement as the rescue team used tools that seemed to work by pure thought and energy, devices that could reshape metal without heat, computers that responded to mental commands, and energy sources that seemed to draw power from empty space itself. But even with their advanced technology, they asked for Lisa's help with some of the creative solutions she had improvised during the night. Her hybrid repairs had worked so well that they wanted to understand her methods and possibly incorporate them into their own engineering practices. As the sun reached its highest point in the sky, Kira's ship was finally ready for flight. The crystals hummed with renewed power, and all the damaged systems had been replaced or repaired. The ship looked exactly as it had before the crash, with no sign of the damage that had nearly cost Kira her life. But before leaving, Kira had one more surprise for Lisa. The queen presented her with a small, crystal device that looked like a piece of jewelry but felt warm and alive in Lisa's hands. Through the translator, Kira explained that this was a communication beacon that would work across any distance in the galaxy if Lisa ever needed help, or if her planet ever faced a crisis that was beyond human ability to handle. She need only activate the device and help would come. But more than that, the beacon would allow Lisa to stay in contact with their civilization and continue learning about the galaxy beyond Earth. Kira also shared with Lisa some advanced knowledge about engineering and physics that would help her understand technology in ways no other human ever had. She warned Lisa to use this knowledge carefully and to introduce new ideas slowly, so as not to disrupt human development too quickly. The Queen explained that their civilization had rules about interfering with younger species, but Lisa had proven herself to be exceptional. She was now considered a friend of the Empire, with all the privileges and responsibilities that came with that status. As Kira's ship rose silently into the afternoon sky, followed by a fleet of rescue vessels, Lisa stood alone in the desert holding the communication beacon. In less than 24 hours, her entire understanding of the universe had changed. She was no longer just a mechanical engine. The days after Kira's departure were the strangest of Lisa's life. She went back to work at the engineering company, but everything felt different now. Her colleagues noticed the change immediately. Problems that used to stump entire teams suddenly seemed easy to Lisa. She would look at a broken engine or a complex computer system and just know what was wrong and how to fix it. Her boss, Mr. Chen, called her into his office after she solved 3 impossible repair jobs in a single week. He wanted to know what had happened to her. Had she been taking some kind of advanced training course, reading new technical manuals? Lisa just smiled and said she'd been practicing a lot on her own time, but the truth was much more complicated. The knowledge that Kira had shared with her was like having a completely new way of thinking about how machines worked. She could see energy patterns and understand relationships between different systems that no human engineer had ever been taught. It was exciting and terrifying at the same time. The hardest part was keeping it secret. Every day, Lisa discovered new things she could do with the alien knowledge. She figured out how to make engines run more efficiently, how to fix computers that everyone else said were beyond repair, and how to solve problems that had been bothering scientists for years. But she couldn't tell anyone where these ideas came from. At night, she would sit in her workshop and experiment with small projects. Using the principles Kira had taught her, she built a water filter that could clean any liquid perfectly, a battery that seemed to charge itself, and a small device that could make any electronic gadget work faster and better. Each success made her more confident, but also more careful about keeping her secret. The communication beacon sat on her workbench, like a constant reminder of that incredible night. Sometimes she would pick it up and wonder if Kira was thinking about her too. The device felt warm to the touch and seemed to pulse gently, as if it had its own heartbeat. Lisa knew it was more than just a communication tool. It was proof that the universe was much bigger and more wonderful than most people could imagine. 3 months after the encounter, something unexpected happened. Lisa was working late in her shop when the communication beacon started to glow. Her heart raced as she picked it up, wondering if the alien queen was trying to contact her. But instead of Kira's voice, she heard someone else speaking through the translator. The voice belonged to Commander Zef, the engineer who had been so impressed with Lisa's work on the rescue day. He explained that he had been given permission to contact her because the Royal Science Council had a problem they couldn't solve. A disease was spreading through their empire, affecting the power systems of their ships and cities. Their best scientists were stumped. Lisa listened as Zeth described the technical details of their problem. To her amazement, she realized she might actually be able to help. The disease was really a kind of computer virus that attacked the crystal-based technology their civilization used. But because Lisa understood both human and alien technology, she could see a solution that nobody else had thought of. The virus worked by changing the frequency patterns in their power crystals, causing them to crack and fail. But Lisa remembered something from her work with Earth computers. Viruses could be stopped if you changed the way The system communicated with itself. She suggested they try adding what humans call firewalls to their crystal networks, working through the communication beacon. Lisa spent the next several nights helping the alien engineers develop a cure for their technological plague. She showed them how to use certain human programming concepts to protect their crystal networks, and how to build barriers using principles that were common in Earth computers, but completely new to their science. The process was incredible. Lisa would explain an idea, and the alien engineers would test it across their empire in real time. They had computers that could run millions of simulations instantly, and communication networks that reached across multiple star systems. Within hours, they could see if her suggestions were working. The solution worked perfectly. Lisa's hybrid approach, combining human computer science with alien crystal technology, created a defense system that was stronger than either species could have built alone. Within weeks, the disease was completely eliminated from their empire. Commander Zith told Lisa that she had saved not just individual ships or cities, but their entire civilization. The Royal Science Council was amazed that a human could contribute knowledge that their most advanced scientists had missed. They began to understand that younger civilizations like humanity might have fresh perspectives that could benefit everyone. As a reward for her help, Kira sent Lisa a second gift through the communication network. This time it was a small workshop tool that looked like a simple silver pen, but could analyze and repair almost any kind of technology just by touching it. Kira's message explained that Lisa had proven herself to be not just a friend, but a valuable ally to their people. But with great power came great responsibility. Lisa realized that the knowledge and tools she now possessed could change the world if they fell into the wrong hands. She made the difficult decision to be very careful about how she used them. Instead of revolutionizing human technology overnight, she would introduce improvements slowly and carefully. She started by making small changes at her job. Engines that she repaired lasted longer and ran cleaner than before. Computer systems she worked on became more reliable and efficient. Her colleagues thought she was just getting better at her job, but Lisa was actually using alien technology to help solve human problems. The communication beacon brought her into contact with other members of Kira's empire. Over the following months, she helped solve engineering problems, shared ideas about different ways to approach technical challenges, and even contributed to the design of new spacecraft. Each conversation taught her more about the vast galaxy of civilizations that existed beyond Earth. One of the most exciting projects was helping to design a new type of engine that could travel between stars much faster than before. Lisa's unique understanding of both human and alien physics allowed her to suggest improvements that neither species could have developed alone. The new engine design would cut travel time between distant worlds from years to months. But perhaps the most meaningful part of her ongoing relationship with the alien empire was the friendship she developed with various engineers and scientists. Despite being separated by millions of miles and coming from completely different worlds, they shared the same passion for solving problems and building things that made life better for everyone. Lisa learned that the universe was full of species that faced similar challenges to humans. They worried about energy shortages, environmental problems, diseases, and how to take care of their people. Working together across the vast distances of space, they could share solutions and help each other in ways that no single world could manage alone. The most surprising discovery was that many alien species looked up to humans for their creativity and determination. While other civilizations had more advanced technology, humans had a unique ability to think outside the box and find solutions that nobody else would consider. Lisa's success in helping with the crystal virus was just one example of human ingenuity, making a difference on a galactic scale. But Lisa also learned that the galaxy could be a dangerous place. There were civilizations that used their advanced technology to hurt others, species that conquered weaker worlds, and threats that even the most powerful empires struggled to handle. The peaceful life she had always known on Earth was protected by distance and luck, but that protection might not last forever. As her second year of secret contact with the alien empire continued, Lisa began to realize that her role was becoming much bigger than just helping with engineering problems. She was becoming a bridge between two very different civilizations, helping each side understand what the other had to offer. 5 years had passed since that night in the desert, and Lisa's life had become something she never could have imagined. She was now the head engineer at her company, respected by colleagues who had no idea that their most trusted problem solver was secretly working with alien technology. Her reputation for solving impossible problems had spread throughout the industry. But more importantly, she had become an unofficial ambassador between Earth and the Andromedan Empire. Through the communication beacon, she regularly consulted with alien engineers on problems that affected entire solar systems. Her workshop at home had become a secret laboratory where human and alien technology merged in ways that would have seemed like magic to most people. The silver tool that Kira had sent her proved invaluable in her work. With it, Lisa could diagnose problems in any machine just by touching it, and often fix issues that would have taken other engineers days or weeks to solve. She had to be careful not to appear too miraculous in her abilities, so she would often pretend to work on repairs the normal way while actually using the alien device. Lisa had also become something of a legend among the alien engineers she worked with. They called her the bridge builder because of her unique ability to connect different types of technology in ways that nobody else could see. Stories of her creative solutions had spread throughout the empire, and she regularly received requests for help from distant worlds. One evening, as Lisa was working on a particularly challenging project involving a new type of clean energy system, the communication beacon activated with an urgent message. It was Kira herself, and she sounded worried. The Queen explained that their long-range sensors had detected some concerning activity in Earth's solar system. A group of hostile aliens from a different part of the galaxy had been spotted near Earth. These beings were known throughout the galaxy as raiders who attacked less advanced civilizations, stealing resources and technology. They were still several months away, but they were definitely heading toward Earth with bad intentions. Lisa felt her blood run cold. Everything she had learned about the galaxy told her that humanity wasn't ready to defend itself against this kind of threat. Earth's most advanced weapons and spacecraft would be like throwing rocks at tanks compared to what these raiders could bring to bear. The raiders were called the Void Hunters, and they had been terrorizing younger civilizations. For thousands of years, they would arrive at a planet, take everything valuable, and leave the inhabitants to struggle with whatever was left. Sometimes they would enslave entire populations to work in their mines and factories. No world had ever successfully fought them off alone, but Kira had a plan. She explained that according to galactic law, any world that had formal allies could call for protection from the Empire. The problem was that Earth had no official relationship with any galactic civilization. However, Lisa's friendship with Kira and her contributions to the Empire might be enough to justify intervention. The Queen proposed something unprecedented. She wanted to offer Earth a formal alliance with the Andromedan Empire. It would be the first time in galactic history that such an advanced civilization had allied with such a young species. But Lisa's unique abilities and trustworthiness had convinced the Royal Council that humans had potential worth protecting. There was just one catch. The alliance would require a human representative who could speak for Earth and who understood both human and alien technology. Someone who had already proven their ability to work with galactic civilizations. Someone like Lisa. Lisa realized that Kira was offering her the chance to become Earth's first galactic ambassador. It would mean revealing the existence of alien life to human governments and helping to negotiate humanity's entry into a vast community of civilizations. It was an opportunity that came with enormous responsibility and risks. If she accepted, there would be no going back to her quiet life as an engineer. She would become one of the most important people in human history. If she refused, Earth would face the raiders alone, and billions of people might die. The choice seemed obvious. But Lisa knew that once she took this step, everything would change forever. She thought about her grandfather's old toolkit, about the simple desire to fix things that had started her on this incredible journey. Now she had the chance to fix one of the biggest problems humanity had ever faced. She picked up the communication beacon and told Kira that she accepted the role. Over the next few weeks, Lisa worked with alien diplomats to prepare for first contact with Earth's governments. They developed a plan to gradually reveal the truth about galactic civilization, starting with a small group of world leaders and scientists who could help humanity prepare for what was coming. The plan had to be perfect. Revealing alien contact too quickly could cause panic, while moving too slowly might not give Earth enough time to prepare for the Void Hunters. Lisa helped design a presentation that would prove the reality of alien life while also showing that these beings came in peace. The day finally came when Lisa stood in a secret meeting room with presidents, prime ministers, and generals from around the world. She activated a holographic projector that Kira had sent her and watched as the faces of human leaders changed from skepticism to amazement to fear, as they realized what she was telling them was real. Some wanted to fight, others wanted to hide. But Lisa helped them understand that neither option would work against the technology they would be facing. The only hope was to accept the alliance and the protection it offered while beginning the long process of bringing human technology up to galactic standards. The negotiations took weeks. World leaders struggled to accept that everything they thought they knew about humanity's place in the universe was wrong. But as the Void Hunters got closer to Earth, the urgency became clear. An alliance with the Andromedan Empire was humanity's only chance for survival. The raiders arrived right on schedule, expecting to find a defenseless world ripe for plunder. Instead, they found a fleet of Andromedan warships waiting for them. The battle lasted less than an hour, and not a single human was harmed. The raiders retreated, and word spread throughout the galaxy that Earth was under the protection of the Empire. In the months that followed, Lisa helped establish Earth's first embassy to galactic civilization. She worked with human scientists to begin adapting alien technology for Earth's needs, always careful to introduce changes gradually so that society could adapt. Clean energy, advanced medicine, and new materials began to appear, marketed as breakthrough human innovations. Most people on Earth never knew how close they had come to disaster, or that their planet was now part of a galactic community. But in government labs and university research centers, the brightest human minds began working with alien advisors to prepare humanity for its future. Among the stars, Lisa often thought back to that night in the desert when she first saw Kira's damaged ship. A simple decision to help someone in need had led to the most important moment in human history. Sometimes the biggest changes really did start with the smallest acts of kindness. Years later, when the first human students began attending galactic universities and the first human-designed spacecraft began traveling to other worlds, Lisa would smile knowing that it all started with a mechanic who just wanted to fix a broken ship in the desert. The universe was vast and full of wonders, but it was also full of people, no matter what planet they came from, who just wanted to help each other and build something better together.